So Tom Brady to Miami has been something that has been talked about quite a bit lately. I
Yep.
personally don't believe it really. I mean, I believe it a little bit, but not very much because we heard this last time around. Um, Tom Brady wants to go to Miami, but he doesn't want to play for Brian Flores. And then that's why he went to Tampa. And then this last offseason, it's, he wants to go to Miami and play for Sean Payton. And then, the whole thing blew up because the Bill Belichick text and all this other stuff. I just feel like, I don't know, if it was going to happen, it would have happened. I don't really understand what stopped it if it was going to happen. If Brady wanted it, he could have had it.
The entire Brian Flores thing.
Huh?
The entire Brian Flores thing.
Yeah, but like, I mean, he still could have done it if you wanted to do it. Like, what's the difference in doing it next year? Are people just going to forget?
Right.
Like,
So like that's like that's why this rumor is such a compelling one because
right,
the it could happen next year. And
right.
there's a lot of reasons why Tom Brady would want to go to Miami.
Well, yeah, for sure now,
Um,
especially.
just one of them is just to stick it to New England and say that, hey, I'm better than Bill Belichick, and this is that reason why. And like, if he beats Bill Belichick twice a year, man, that's a hell of an
Well,
argument
here's something
to.
we're kind of leaving out too is that it's not to play there.
So it's part owner, part player, right? It's like a player coach.
From what I heard, it was more of like he was going to be an executive. Like he would have played this year, but then retired and became a
Yeah,
full-time executive. So I think
for
it'll be
sure,
next year. He'll step in as like, the VP of football operations or something like that if he does it.
for sure.
Or the GM or whatever. But I think he's more of like a VP or, like a coach type. I don't know if he would want to be a
Yeah,
GM
so
necessarily.
it would be like 1 year and done, right?
Right.
Which makes a lot of sense. Again, just like based off the players that they traded for, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that Tom Brady in like New England had seen Tyreek Hill and was like, "Oh man,
Right.
I really want to play with that guy,"
Right.
and now he has the opportunity to. Um, and
Well, that's the thing.
this,
Don't you think he would have? I like that's my problem is like if he wanted to go there, what was stopping him other than being
I
under
think nothing was
contract, I
stopping him
guess.
on his end, but
Right.
everything was stopping him the Miami Dolphins and their ends. Because if they just got rid of Brian Flores and said Tom Brady and like kind of just like it's a mess in the entire thing. And so
Well, they
like,
already have a coach though. I don't think he was going to be their head coach. It was more of like a VP thing.
but
So,
Sean Payne was going to be, right? And so like if they quickly replace Sean Payne, well, Brian Flores with Sean Payne, right?
well, I don't
They
think that was necessarily it's tough because I just don't understand it at this point because it's like, okay, if it was infringent on Sean Payton coming over, then why did like he retired and then they this whole I just don't get it. Like I get what you're saying where it's like, okay, it couldn't have happened because it would have just looked really bad to
it
hire
looked terrible,
yeah,
yeah.
Sean Payton directly. But I mean, they hired Mike McDaniel, and what are they going to fire him next year to get Sean Payton to get Tom Brady? Like I just don't understand it. Like,
Well,
I don't know.
so like Sean Payne would have had like the same deal where like it was a one and done situation.
So he's going to
Um,
coach there for 1 year and then retire.
and be in a lucrative front office role. And
So why
so
not just do that to begin with? You get what I'm saying? Like, why not? He could just go there and be like,
right,
look, I'm the GM now. I'm the GM. You're the coach. Mike McDaniel's the coach. I'm the GM. Tom Brady's the VP. That what would have
yeah.
changed this year versus next year? It just sounds like that's why I don't not like the rumor. I just don't believe it too much because it just seems like a hodgepodge of stuff that like
Yeah.
kind of makes sense, but
No,
it
for
seems
sure, for
like
sure, for
somebody's just
sure.
throwing stuff at a wall to be like, hey, I made this up. You know what I mean? Like
I think some of
I
it
had this
is.
first.
I
Yeah.
think some of it is, but like I also can see some credibility in it, and it wouldn't shock me if it happens.
I honestly think what's more likely right now, 100% more likely, is Sean Payton unretires after Mike McCarthy gets fired next year and becomes the head coach of the Dallas
Oh,
Cowboys.
I'm
I
100
think that's
percent
yeah,
I'm 100% there with you.
yeah,
Like I that's when Champagne got fired, that's like the first thought that came in my mind.
Yeah.
But like, it wouldn't shock me if something like this, like if Aaron Rodgers, for instance, had like the same kind of deal with Champagne or some like other retired head coach.
Yeah.
Just because the NFL is now becoming more of a players' league, I feel like now players can decide who the coaches need to be and who's going to be around them. And quarterbacks just have a lot of power. So I wouldn't be shocked if this Brady thing happens or if something like this might not include Payne or Brady,
Right.
but like something like this happens in the future.
I mean, I honestly don't. I wouldn't be surprised if Brady ends up being a VP somewhere next year, or a GM or a coach
Yeah.
or something next year. But I just feel like this particular rumor, I just don't.
Yeah.
I feel like it's, like I said, it's more of like a fun, could have
Right.
been thing where it's like, oh, this was possible kind of thing.
And I 100% agree that like there's so many things happening in this rumor that like
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to believe,
Right.
but also sets up the possibility of it happening in the future with players that like don't necessarily need to evolve Tom Brady or a coach that doesn't necessarily need to evolve Champagne.
Right.
What really sticks out in this rumor for me is just how bad this Tom Brady Patriot relationship is.
Right.
Because if Tom Brady wanted to go to Miami, I'm pretty sure the only difference between Miami and Tampa Bay is that they play New England twice and they're in the same conference, right?
Yeah.
And so like, how bad did Bill Belichick treat Tom Brady in his last few years in New England? That's the question that kind of raises my head.
My question is, I know people are going to be mad at me for saying this, but is it Tom Brady just being a dick? Like, I mean, is he just being a dick? It's very possible. I mean, okay, I'm going to make this short and sweet. Everybody's been talking about Aaron Rodgers in this negative light for him keeping himself in the media cycle. Tom Brady has been doing that times 10, and all we've been doing is showing highlights. When nobody says anything bad about it, we just go, here's his highlights. Look at how good he is. It's like, yeah, he's making it all about him when Russell Wilson just got traded, or all these guys are getting traded, and it's all about Tom Brady still.
So like, here's the difference: is that Tom Brady's never said anything bad. Aaron Rodgers got negative media attention because he said vaccines suck.
And I mean, he didn't say that. He more said this vaccine sucks. But anyway, that's a different conversation. But personally, I mean, I don't think that matters. I think that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. The fact that people are going to sit here and judge Aaron Rodgers as a football player based on whether he was vaccinated for a vaccine that now we kind of know he was a little bit more right than anybody wants to say, but we'll move on. We won't talk about that. But I just feel like it's one of those things that people just hate Aaron Rodgers because it's cool to hate Aaron Rodgers. It was cool to hate Tom Brady 5 years ago. Now it's not anymore. So nobody hates him.
Yeah, Tom Brady's just like, I don't know. Tom Brady is that perfect NFL playboy, right? Like, he's just on the face of NFL right now. Yeah. And just because he has like so many championships, and again,
he's the GOAT. I mean, that's what it is.
In my experience, like, I've never heard him say anything wrong. Like, you can't pinpoint a conference that he's talked in and said, I don't know, Tom Brady, that what you said right there doesn't seem right. Like, you can say his ex-wife or his ex-girlfriend having a baby with, like, maybe that's like the most controversial thing he's did, but I mean, I feel like nowadays
I don't know, bro. That 5-second kiss to his son was a little weird. Just a bit, just a little weird. I don't know, man. Yeah, it's one of those things that's like, hey, dude, that kid's 11. Like, you need to chill. You know what I mean? Like, hey, bro, it's grown. That's almost a grown adult.
Oh man,
you're kissing him on the mouth. No.
You're having fun on 420, aren't you?
Something like
Good.
that.
All right.
But yeah. Anyway, I feel like I don't know. It could be one of those things too where I'm a Lions fan, so I'm on Lions Twitter, and that's what I
Yeah.
see because we all hate Aaron Rodgers. So it could just be
Yeah.
that too. But it just seems like in the bigger media outlets, we see Aaron Rodgers talked about in a negative way, but we don't see Tom Brady, and I feel like they're kind of doing the same thing. But I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.